What do you say when you're standing above the man who towers over you your entire life? A man whom my great-grandmother, Matilda Burns, loved to hear sing. A man whom my grandmother, Mama Helen, admired and adored. A man whom my grandmother, Gertrude Brown, had profound questions to ask him. A man who gave my father the balance and the social anchor and strengthened his faith. A man that in latter years, Claudette, who do you go and talk to about the Reverend Jesse Jackson? I needed someone, and I could tell on my dad to Reverend Clay Evans. They had an improbable friendship, relationship, fellowship. Why, I asked Reverend Evans, did he link up, join up with my father and the Reverend Martin Luther King? He was popular, he was successful, his church was growing, he had a musical gift. He said the Spirit told him. To the ministers in here, on behalf of Reverend Evans and the Evans family, each and every one of you, he loved the ministers. Happy preacher, I see you. He made room for us to shout, to sing. The doctors and the lawyers, the janitors, the custodians could all get together at fellowship. He wasn't the big people's preacher, he was the little bitty people's preachers. The people that came from, like the Jackson and the Browns household of brokenness, he brought us all together. He could call the minister Louis Farrakhan to sit him down. He could call Reverend Jeremiah Wright and sit him down. He could call the Reverend Jesse Jackson and sit him down. He gave my father and our family correction and direction. I asked Reverend Evans, why did you join Reverend Martin Luther King? He says, I prayed about it, I thought about it, and then he kind of mumbled, oh. And in that growl, and that cry, and that sweetness, that harmony, and that voice, Miss Ludella, he says a lot with just a, oh. He says the 10 Commandments tell us to do 5 things for God and 5 things for man. We must glorify God and edify man, build up man. And he saw Reverend Martin Luther King come into town with my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. To Reverend Sharp and to Reverend Jenkins, I want to add one more person to your trilogy. We got to make this a 4-legged stool. He saw a man 54 years ago that was 24 years of age in the Reverend Jesse Jackson and started listening to him because he told me he didn't read the newspaper when he met my father. He was into personal salvation, but after he prayed, he said he had a better understanding of social salvation, so you gotta have personal salvation and social salvation. Glorify God and edify man, build up the community. We thank God for this walk of his hand and God's hand in bringing us all together. Reverend Evans is the gift that keeps on giving. He baptized my family. And for those that are in television and internet land that are watching us in various places, why is this service going on so long? Because he did so much for so many. Let that be a testimony to your life. And for all those that don't have an opportunity to say a word today, he hears you in heaven. The Evans, it's a big family, but it's a high quality family. You heard the ministry on the piano with Brother Ralph and Stevie. You heard Faith. Who would name their last child, their daughter, Faith, who was shown enough faithful to him? You put new meaning to the words of all day. and all night. Anytime you called their house, one of the children was at his side. He didn't need a nursing home. He didn't need hospitalization. His family, the way God ordained it to be, surrounded him and loved him. Michael picked them up and dropped them off. His happiest moments was to see Stevie on the organ, Ralph on the piano, Claudette and Harold in the audience, Luther May tuned in, Faith sitting right there. He saw the whole family. And on behalf of the Jackson family, Claudette, thank you for letting us share your father. I know what it means to have a famous father. Let me tell you what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That means anything you do, anywhere you go, the streets talk and they get a message back to your family. We shared that as a commonality. I can't do anything without a ship out being somewhere in the parking garage, selling the peanuts at the ballpark, at the restaurant, at the hospital, at the police station. A family can keep you together. I know we have an interest of time, but I can't help but thank God in closing that Reverend Evans' hand was in the Master's hand. And when you look at it, there's a story about a father and a son crossing a river. And the father tells the son, "Put your hand, hold my hand." And the son says, "No, Dad, you hold my hand." And the son asks, the father says, "What's the difference?" And the son went on to tell the father, "You see, if I hold your hand and something happens, I may let you go. But Dad, if you're holding my hand, I know you will never let me go." I want to thank God for having Reverend Evans' hand in his hand, because he would never, ever let us go. Can't you hear the song now? Can't you hear Miss Loretta Oliver and her family? Can't you see the Evans family? Can't you see the Jackson family? Individuals did not join fellowship. Families joined fellowship. Everybody's a member of the same church. Don't you see Miss Ludella? Don't you see Ferris Evans? Don't you see Claudette? Don't you see the whole family? Isn't that a testimony? And the chimes of time ring out a news. Another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you? You may not know, but let not your heart be disheartened, because I have news for you. It is no secret, it's no secret, it's no secret what God can do. What he's done for others, he can do for you. With his arms wide open,